Welcome everyone. My name is Katrin Barcic and I'm one of the managing directors of Vira Germany, leading the venture development team. I'm very happy about having the opportunity today to speak to you about corporate innovation blockers and the 3 factors that endanger successful innovation. So first of all, who is Vira? Vira is the most global, connected and tech-driven open innovation hub, the so-called corporate accelerator of Telefonica, founded in 2011 with presence in 10 countries. Vira has more than 500 startups in the portfolio, but the most important number I want to share with you is this: more than 100 startups are having a real commercial contract directly with Telefonica. So the main aim of Vira is to bring open innovation from outside into a big corporate. We believe that Telefonica is the elephant, slow but safe and stable. And the elephant has to dance with the startups, the gazelles. They are agile and fast, and you shouldn't step on them. So Telefonica provides huge access to business development opportunities with some of the world's largest companies. It has more than 300 million accesses around the world, which are all accessible to Vira startups. And we want to turn our startups into scale-ups. But how? Vira helps startups to generate revenue by winning Telefonica as a client. The venture client model we are running is the heart of our program. And our main aim is really to win Telefonica as a client. So what is special? We start with the company. We start with the big corporation. We identify the needs of Telefonica. And then we search for startups that can solve particular problems in our business areas. And we connect Telefonica with the startups. So it's a win-win situation in the end. As a large corporation, we gain access to knowledge and new technologies, and the startups, they get often their first major reference customer and sales. And in a more mature market, what is the greatest value we can bring to startups? I mean, beyond demo days. Nobody can see demo days anymore and how to teach, how to pitch. I mean, the most startups, they are excellent. So the value we can bring is business, the joint business, the revenues, the money. And now to the innovation blockers. The 3 innovation blockers we identified on our long journey with a lot of new experiences and also failures we did. I often read that it's hard for internal corporate innovation teams to bring innovative solutions into the big companies. And yes, I think this is true. I know this. Before I joined Vira, I was heading the internal innovation unit for Telefonica Germany. And as a corporate, you always have the big pressure to grow and to become more efficient, more agile. And everybody knows companies which don't innovate or transform in the next years, they won't survive. And what I could personally experience in the last years during my work, bringing together these 2 different worlds, the corporate world on the one side and the startup world on the other side, is the 3 factors endanger corporate innovation. And the 3 factors are people, are processes, and technology. So let's talk first about people. It's not enough to have a motivated, internal, open-minded innovation unit in your company. Innovation has to be part of the DNA of your company. Innovation has to be lived top down, and you need space for your employees to be innovative each day. It doesn't matter if people work in customer service, IT, or marketing. They have to live the innovation spirit. And to bring this innovation spirit into a big corporate, a vehicle such as Vira can help you. Why? Startups are totally different. They don't say sentences like, I don't know if this works out, we tried this already, this takes too long, it costs too much. In startups, you have mainly the let's try it out mentality. And often the people from university that join startups, they are totally open-minded and they think everything is possible. So bring together these 2 worlds, the highly experienced professional corporate people with the super motivated and open startup people, and then you will have a win-win situation. So now let's talk about the second factor that endanger corporate innovation, the processes. Big corporates have processes for everything. They need them to run this elephant successfully. But when you want to test something new, processes can kill your idea before you even think about how to implement the idea. So from our experiences in the last years, it is very important that you have adapted processes that give you the opportunity to try, to fail, and to try again. In our case, for example, we do have a specific framework, a standardized legal contracts, a specific procurement process, a kind of fast-track process for the onboarding of the startups. We want to have, and this is really our aim, the easiest interface to work with our startups among the industry. And the third factor that endangers corporate innovation is technology. In big corporates, you have huge legacy systems. You have an IT landscape that was developed over years and years. If you want to test innovative solutions, or if you are developing new products outside your core business, try to not touch the existing IT. Of course, this is not always feasible, but during our startup projects at Vira, we really try to develop end-to-end separated solutions. Here, one example. Our colleagues from O2 Customer Service, they were looking for a way to answer frequently asked questions from customers more efficiently. And Vira scouted and we recruited the Munich startup ePod7. Together with Telefonica, they developed the chatbot Lisa. So Lisa now helps today thousands of customers every day, and at the same time frees up time for the customer service staff to solve complex problems. So overall, my recommendation is you have to hack the internal system, the system of the three factors: people, processes, and technology. To promote your colleagues to be innovative, you have to trust in your own innovative strengths. Only your employees can innovate the company. You have to bring employees from different backgrounds together to tackle business opportunities. So you also have to look outside the company and therefore cooperate with startups, foster cultural shift, bring this new thinking into your company, and therefore shorten your processes and gain access to new technologies. So be open for new things, and you can overcome the three factors that endanger corporate innovation. Thank you very much for listening. If you want to hear more, if you have any questions about Vira or our venture development program, please contact me afterwards. And thank you for listening.
Okay, so I'm really happy to be here with Anke Barthe today, who is the CEO and co-founder of the Ready School of Digital Integration, where originally asylum seekers and migrants learned how to code and learn tech skills. And Anne will tell us a bit about how this developed in the last couple of months. And she's also an associate of the Stanford Peace Innovation Lab, and she was recently celebrated as the Female Social Entrepreneur of the Year by the German Startup Award. Congratulations, and thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
So at Tech Days, we talked a lot about technology and technology innovation today, and most of our participants are probably rather comfortable with those topics, and that's of course not the case for everybody. And there's this narrative of digital inclusion and that no one should be left behind when it comes to digitization. And can you tell us a bit how you apply this narrative at the Ready School?
Certainly. So actually, when we started Ready School 5 years ago, we started teaching Ruby on Rails. Then we realized, of course, that's just one programming language. There are so many tech skills that are needed in the industry. So we then started teaching Java and Python. We started doing IoT, but all of it was high-end tech courses. And another thing was that we realized that only 10% of our participants were women. And as a female founder, I, of course, thought, okay, the world consists of 50% women, so why is that not represented at our tech school? So we started doing a lot of interviews. We did workshops with women from the tech industry and also women with migration background, and asked them, what can we do? How should we organize the courses to get you involved? And we started realizing, well, actually, it wasn't so interesting yet to teach coding skills, because what they really needed was more to learn how to use the internet, how to send emails, how to use a calendar, even Word, Excel, PowerPoint. So just understanding the basics. So we started by doing a pilot project. This is now almost 3 years ago, wow. Just teaching the very basic skills. And even then we realized that these skills actually were what we now call our basic courses. But even before that, we have now started a course called My First Introduction to a Laptop. Because what we learned, for instance, some of the women from Afghanistan who had been to school maybe 20 years ago and only have 7 years of schooling, for them all of a sudden sitting in front of a laptop and on the one hand side learning what is a mouse, and when you move your right hand, the cursor moves up in the corner. For many of us, it's something that we take for granted, that we understand that this is how it works. But to people who for the first time understand how hardware works, this is something that you actually have to learn. So Ready School now has really developed from the very, very, very basics of understanding what is a keyboard, what is a mouse, how do I turn it on. My laptop needs to be connected to the electricity in order to work. It can run out of battery. These basic things, and then all the way to the really advanced, which can be like how to use Azure cloud systems for the very advanced students. But right. The challenge is then to make kind of pathways that you can start from the very basic, maybe not to become a programmer, but even if you want to work, say, in elderly care or as a nurse, that we can see that many of our women, this is the perspectives that they have for their jobs. You also need to be able to receive and send emails if you're working as a nurse. And this is quite exciting for us to see. Technology is absolutely everywhere. And by understanding how to use a laptop, you can really get access to all kinds of jobs in Germany. And this is what we ultimately want for everyone.
Yeah, so I feel like that's basically a life changer for those, especially women who have no clue how to interact with those things, but not because they're stupid or whatever, because they don't know. They never had a laptop in their hands or a mouse or all those kind of things. So what do you think are the most important skills that everybody needs in our world right now when it comes to technology?
I definitely think that you always need the basics. So this is what we are teaching in our courses, is that you can be an active and informed user. I think there's an element of cyber safety that actually everyone needs to understand now, because of course technology comes with a lot of opportunities and can really change your life for the better. But at the same time, if you don't know when you might get a strange email asking for your credit card number, that you should not click it, you should not apply to it. So there's all these risks that you also need to understand when you go online.
Yeah.
And one thing that I think is really important is also how to have informed conversation about technology, because we're getting a lot of interest from especially mothers who are taking our courses and are getting online for the first time. Now their kids are doing homeschooling, so they need to participate in education online. And that also opens up to other opportunities for the children, but also for other risks. So right. How to talk to your child about how to use social media, what to post, what not to post, there's a lot of challenges with cyberbullying that we also need to develop a new language about, that parents are not necessarily used to having these kind of conversations. So I think technology, it can be incredible, but we have to be well thought through how we use it for the best.
Right. And you also just now mentioned homeschooling, which I think you're referring to the whole coronavirus situation. And suddenly it seems like everybody has to be able to work online, to teach your kids to do homeschooling with all those digital tools. And there's already a discussion starting on how we can educate people on making this easier for everybody. And you're from a Nordic country. I think you're Danish, if that's correct?
That's
part
correct.
Danish. And there's this thing called the Nordic Secret, which is a concept on how societies go through major technological, economical, and structural changes peacefully. And can you tell us how you guys do it? What we can learn from you?
Yeah, actually, The Nordic Secret is the name of a book that came out a couple of years ago, that was looking into the question, why has the Scandinavian countries been able to be kind of so successful that when you look at the happiness index of what are the most happy countries in the world, what's the most developed countries in the world, also the area with the least abuse of the system, you can call it. And the Scandinavian countries are always getting up on top. So the question was, what has actually created that? And what we have seen is that in the mid-1800s, a lot was invested in education, but not necessarily in the education of children, but actually of youth and young adult education. So we started what is in Denmark called the folk high schools. And this was for people from around the age of 18, where they would come usually for about 3 months together with other young people to discuss leadership. What does it mean to be Danish? What do we want for the future of our country? But at the same time, also discussing philosophy, discussing the newest technologies. And these young people would then go back into the villages, into the cities, and then start building the kind of country that we wanted to live in. And it started in Denmark, then spread to Norway and also to Sweden. I think we see examples of it in Germany as well. I mean, we have evening schools that people are attending, but it's not many people know about these folk high schools, and it really was something that changed our societies massively in the 1800s. The folk high schools still exist. You can attend them. But I think these are the kind of initiative that truly inspires me to also say, well, Ready School, it's not. It is a school. We're working with education, but it's a different kind of school. It's not Monday to Friday. It's not per se an evening school. And I think in the times of great change because of digitization, we need to think very differently about how do we educate everyone and make technologies possibilities accessible for everyone. And this is truly what we are trying to do with Ready School, and hopefully being as innovative and impactful as we can, because I think this is going to be crucial to make sure that everyone benefits in the future.
Absolutely. And I believe you also studied peace research some years ago, probably. And how do you think that peace and technology innovation are related? When you think about this, how can we make this change happen peacefully and integrated for everybody?
I think it relates in many ways. When I studied peace studies, the biggest question that I had on my mind, because I come from a business background, was how do we measure peace? How do we know when we build NGOs or we do so projects that they are actually working? Because many times you do monitoring and evaluation and you write a report afterwards, but what you really need is when you're doing a project to understand, is this working? So this is in the beginning what actually drove me into technology, because I realized that you can measure impact in real time. if we are building software systems or communication platforms to bring people together, say from Palestine and Israel, to see that they talk together, or from North and South Korea, or Russia and America, China, Europe, where there is tension, technology can truly bring people together. But you can also learn a lot from the data of who is talking to whom, what kind of words might be words of aggression, that we can understand that something might happen before it actually breaks out and we have violence in the street. So technology is a wonderful way to measure, and when you apply technology for the right reasons, you can also positively influence the people to live in a peaceful way. So this for me is what is really exciting, and this is what got me into the Peace Innovation Lab in the first place, to understand how do we actually apply technology in the right way. On the other hand, what we see now is that the people who can use technology, who can work with robotics and machines, that they are moving so fast ahead, and we know that the curve is exponential. So people are really developing very fast if you can apply technology. On the other hand, the people who cannot apply technology because they either don't have the right hardware, or they don't have proper internet connection, or they don't have the skills because they have not learned it at school or in places like Ready School, they are starting to fall behind. And this kind of gap between the people who can use technology and those who don't know how to apply it or don't have access, that gap is getting bigger and bigger. And this is what I'm afraid will happen if we are not able to close that kind of gap. Some people will truly benefit and other people will be left behind. They will be losing their jobs because they don't know how to apply the technology. And that can lead to civil unrest. And that kind of unrest and unfairness or injustice is something that I'm really worried about. And this is definitely what we are trying with Ready School, is to make sure that everyone can benefit from technology, not just the elite that is already fortunate.
Right. I think we have a lot of entrepreneurs and people from different companies, tech companies here at Tech Days today. If you could give them one tip or one encouragement how to integrate digital inclusion at their company or in their lives, what would that be?
First of all, I would recommend to go to our website, because there you can sign up to become a volunteer. I mean, there's many things to do, but I think Ready School, we've been doing this for 5 years. We are training volunteers all the time in how to give back to society. We are always looking for people who can teach in their companies. We are now doing much more online education, so it's an easy way to, even if you don't sit in Berlin or in Munich or in NRW, you can still support if it's online. And we have also built a mentorship app, so to bring mentors and mentees from the school together, and it can be sort of a sparring with somebody. If you're just learning to do Java and there's a Java expert, they can come together and learn together. So there's many ways to get engaged, but I think first of all, it starts with just the awareness that technology is wonderful, but it's only wonderful if everyone is involved. So awareness and the will and the wish to do something, I think that's where it all has to start.
Yeah, I totally agree. Thank you so much for talking to us about all those very important topics, Anne. I will make sure that we have all the information on Ready School on our digital event platform, so everybody can check it out. And hopefully there will be some more volunteers or even people just spreading the news about what you guys are doing for wonderful things. Thanks again for being with us.
My pleasure.
Thank you. Bye.
Hello, my name is Lena Gandøse Hansen. I am the Danish Consul General here in Bavaria. It's my pleasure to participate in Munich Tech Days in this virtual event this year. Let me elaborate a little bit on our role as the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Denmark here in Bavaria and our role here in South Germany.
We are based here in Munich with a consulate general and an innovation center in order to build bridges between Denmark and southern Germany. We are here because of the strong hub of Bavaria. We do so within various sectors, but specifically the industrial base of southern Germany. Innovation Center Denmark offers business, research institutions and other organizations access to the Southern German innovation system. We are a partnership of the Danish Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the Danish Ministry of Science and Higher Education. Our aim is to be a platform for collaboration on innovation between Bavaria and Denmark. Denmark has established innovation centers in 8 of the global innovation ecosystems, from Shanghai to Silicon Valley. But here in Europe, our only innovation center is in Munich. Obviously, because of the strong ecosystem here and world-class collaboration between corporates, universities, and research institutions. We are, of course, here to get inspiration and to find collaboration possibilities. But in all humbleness, we also believe that we from Denmark can add value to this ecosystem. I will come back a little later on how so. Denmark is one of the most digitalized countries in the world. We have a relatively small and agile bureaucratic system, a robust and green, reliable energy ecosystem, and a creative and adaptive workforce, which is relatively well equipped to succeed in the fourth industrial revolution. Yet, like other countries, cities and regions around the world, we need to be ready to adapt and engage with new technologies and their adverse impacts on society, economy, and the labor market. We will therefore explore how new technologies can help address global challenges and feed into policy formulation at home, in the EU, and globally, by bringing information and knowledge back to decision makers in Denmark. Setting the scene for technological collaboration has become even more important for Europe in today's world. And looking towards South Germany is for Denmark a natural step. Germany is our neighbor and our most important trading partner. As part of this discussion, Denmark has recently established the Techplomacy Initiative. The purpose of the initiative is threefold: to represent Danish authorities in a direct and regular dialogue with the global tech industry, to collect knowledge on current digital trends and regulatory issues, and support the development of political answers to new challenges at national, regional, and global level. Techplomacy is an acknowledgement of the key role that technology and digitalization plays and will increasingly play in the future for individuals and societies alike. Technology will contribute to solving some of the most acute global challenges and bring about a positive transformation with enormous potential for people around the world. Techplomacy is a result of the political and global influence that the tech industry has in the 21st century, and an action taken to make sure that democratic governments set the boundaries for the tech industry and not vice versa. Rapid developments in important areas such as artificial intelligence, machine learning, Internet of Things, and cybersecurity raise fundamental questions as regard to the future of public policy, regulation, and global governance. We believe we need a stronger, multi-stakeholder discussion on how we want these new technologies to shape our societies in the future. This requires to rethink the relationship between governments, civil society, and the private sector. In the view of the Danish government, this necessitates that we establish a formal platform in order to engage in dialogue and collaboration on a broad range of topics with the tech industry. Not to substitute our bilateral and multilateral engagements, but to reinforce them and our ability to promote Denmark's interest and values. By engaging companies on some of these pressing issues, we aim to strengthen governance and the role of nation states in an increasingly digital world. We need to make an impact in our future society. One could wonder what we, from the small country up north, have to offer some of the leading Bavarian companies. But in the field of, for instance, robotics, we are, so to say, punching above our weight and have one of the world's top robotics clusters, which I visited some time ago. I have to say, it was quite impressive what I saw. Here you'll find approximately 130 companies employing 3,600 employees innovating within robotics and automation. You'll also find one of the best robotic incubators in Europe. It's a high-tech environment where companies and talent bring innovation to life. At the Innovation Center, we believe that the industrial base in southern Germany has an untapped potential for Danish companies. And we believe that although competition is fierce, with the Danish companies' agility, competences, and innovative solutions, we have something to offer the German ecosystem. When based in Bavaria, it is of course clear that we look to get inspiration from the leading companies in the region. Many companies are leading by example in the Bavarian ecosystem when it comes to mobility, digitalization, and automation. However, it is a well-known fact that even the biggest players with huge R&D departments are looking to startups to accelerate their innovation, and we have matched several German corporates with Danish startups through our tech scouting. I would like to give you a couple of examples of projects we are working on. Last year, we at the Innovation Center decided to make a deep dive into South Germany and the future demand for robotic competences. With the Industry 4.0 era, we have for sure seen quite a development in the German industrial base, but there could be possibility to do more. As a government entity operating out of Munich, we must always stay true to the values and bonds we share between Denmark and Germany. Our neutrality allows us to work with all companies, big and small, as long as their agenda is to push boundaries in terms of technology and innovation, and that they wish to engage in a deep relationship across our borders. We have been fortunate to work with great companies here, such as Atos Siemens, BMW Group, Mantro, Roche, and many, many more. Let me give you an example of how we initiate our partnerships. For the past 2 years, we have run our very own startup accelerator program, Go B2B Munich. For the program, we select some of the best Danish startups to meet with potential partners and investors in Germany. As an example, we are proud to have coached and helped the Danish medtech startup Upri to form a strategic partnership with Atos. As part of this partnership, Ethos will integrate UPRE technology into its IoT offerings, helping its many customers to store medicine and other sensitive material safely. And last year, we worked closely with BMW Group to help scout for robotic technologies in Denmark. The result was immense. We were able to identify 13 state-of-the-art robotics companies of relevance to BMW and invited them all to Munich for a 2-day workshop together with BMW, Jugarden Kunstner and Unity. Robotics technology and Industry 4.0 are indeed two topics that bind together Denmark and southern Germany. Lastly, we have joined forces with Roche to find the best Danish startups to help boost Roche's innovation within a range of themes from diagnostics to AI and automation. For the Danish startups, this offers a unique opportunity to learn about Roche and identify possible areas for future collaboration. For Roche, the startups offer insights into some of the newest technologies. It is indeed a partnership with valuable output for both parties and a real win-win. Please remember, we are always open for business. If you and your company are looking to explore the many exciting opportunities in Denmark, we would be honored to help you. Our finest mission is to bring even more value to the already beautiful relationship between our two countries and its hardworking companies. So here we are, wanting to ensure that we maintain a competitive industry in Europe, leading in automation and digitalization. We believe we do this best in partnership. Thank you to Munich Tech Days for sharing the stage with us. We hope to see many more joint Danish-Bavarian innovative projects in the future. Thank you and auf Wiedersehen.